All right, folks. Let's dive straight into what's turning into one of the most random and yet somehow predictable Cowboys storylines of the offseason. Yep. We're talking about Micah Parsons and the Washington Commanders. I know, sounds ridiculous. Right, but thanks to none other than Kevin Durant and a casual, off-the-cuff moment at Fanatics Fest, this whole Micah to the Commanders thing is now a headline. And honestly, it shouldn't be, but here we are, talking about it. So, here's how it all went down. Durant and Parsons were both attending Fanatics Fest, just hanging out, doing the whole Athlete at a Brand event thing. Kay Adams was there doing her usual hosting duties, keeping the energy up, interviewing celebs and athletes. You know how these events go. While chatting with Durant, she casually pointed out that Micah isn't signed to a long-term deal with the Cowboys now. To be clear, Parsons is still under contract. He's got this year locked in. Plus, the Cowboys have the ability to franchise tag him twice if they really wanted to play hardball. But of course, what she meant was that there's no long-term extension done yet. And that's the little crack in the door where all these wild takes start slipping through. So, Durant, being Durant, never one to shy away from stirring the pot, jumps in and says, I think Micah's going to be a Commander at some point in his career. And not just like, eventually. Durant put a timeline on it. He said, 2 years from now, 2 years. I mean, come on, that's just asking for trouble. And then, just to make things messier, Kay Adams calls Micah over and puts him on the spot. What does Micah say? The quote that's now making the rounds, I only rock with Dan Quinn. That's it. That's all he says. Now, of course, that one-liner opens the door to all kinds of interpretations. What does that even mean? Does it mean he's such a big fan of Dan Quinn that he'd consider following him to Washington? Is he saying that the only thing he respects about the Commanders organization is Dan Quinn, or is it just a vague, throwaway comment where he's trying to deflect the question without giving a real answer? Honestly, the easiest thing Micah could have done here was just flat out say no. No to the Commanders, no to any chance of leaving Dallas, just shut it down right there. But instead, now we've got people spinning this into a full-blown narrative. And look, let's be real for a second. The chances of Micah Parsons actually becoming a Commander in 2 years, pretty much zero. The Cowboys have multiple years of control over him. He's under contract for this season, then they've got the 5th-year option. And then if it really came down to it, they could tag him twice, financially and contractually. The Cowboys hold all the leverage here, so for Washington fans thinking this is some sort of real possibility, sorry, but it's just not. But even with all that said, why is this even a conversation? Why is this now a headline? Why couldn't Micah just say no and end it before it started? Instead, it's another distraction, another dumb headline, another topic for debate shows and social media arguments. I mean, First Take hasn't even had their NFL segment yet today as we're filming this. But you can bet this is exactly the kind of thing that's going to end up as one of their top stories. It's tailor-made for hot takes, and honestly, I get why Cowboys fans are frustrated. It's not just about this one comment. It's about the bigger picture, the fact that this long-term deal still isn't done. This should have been wrapped up months ago. Make Micah the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history, lock him down, end the speculation, and move on. Sure, in a year or two, someone else will reset the market. That's just how the NFL works, but dragging this out just invites distractions like this, and fans are tired of it. Blame whoever you want. Blame the front office for not getting it done. Blame the agents for playing hardball. Blame the market dynamics for constantly pushing prices higher. Whatever, at the end of the day, the Cowboys need to stop messing around and get this extension done. Enough is enough. Now, shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about another name that's been floating around in Cowboys news lately, Luke Schoonmaker. There's been some trade buzz, and honestly, it's got fans debating on both sides. The idea first popped up thanks to Katie Drummond from Cowboys Wire, who basically suggested that the Cowboys should at least consider seeing what kind of trade market exists for their second-year tight end. Here's the thing with Schoonmaker. Last season, he was definitely better than he was as a rookie. The drops went down. The targets went up. The catches and yards followed. Statistically, it was progress. But was it good enough for a second-round pick? Not really. Even for a position like tight end, where guys often take a little longer to develop, the production just hasn't been at the level you want for someone drafted that high. On the financial side, though, his contract isn't exactly breaking the bank. His cap hit for next year sits at around $1.7 million, with a cash payout just over $1.3 million. The year after that, his cap hit drops to around $1.6 million, so from a salary perspective, moving on from him wouldn't be a problem. The real question is about value. If the Cowboys were to shop him around, what could they realistically get back? A mid to late day 3 pick? Maybe. But then you've got to ask yourself, is that worth it? Is that enough compensation to give up on a guy that, at least at one point, your front office believed in enough to spend a second-round pick? There's also the fact that he's still relatively young and on a cheap contract. Sometimes, having reliable depth at a position like tight end is more valuable than a future late-round pick. And then there's the roster situation. If someone like Brevin Spanford steps up in training camp and preseason, maybe it makes moving Schoonmaker a little easier to justify. You've also got John Stevens Jr. working his way back from injury, and then guys like Ronald Fowler and Princeton Fant who might impress in camp. So if one or two of those players really shine, maybe the Cowboys start feeling like they've got enough depth to consider moving on from Schoonmaker. But as of right now, I don't think we're there yet. Tight end depth can evaporate quickly with just one injury. And given how physical the position is, you never want to be scrambling for options mid-season. Keeping Schoonmaker around for at least one more year seems like the smart play unless someone offers more than expected. All right, now let's talk offensive line. Because inside the star threw out an idea that definitely raised some eyebrows. They floated the concept of benching Terrence Steele and moving Tyler Guyton over to right tackle as part of a full-scale shakeup of the offensive line. According to their proposed lineup, you'd have Tyler Smith kicking out to left tackle, Tyler Booker sliding in at left guard, Cooper Beebe taking over at center, Brock Hoffman at right guard, and then Guyton over at right tackle. Meanwhile, Steele, who's carrying a top 5 cap hit for the team, would be riding the bench. Now look, I get the whole best 5 lineman philosophy. It sounds great in theory. Play your best 5 guys, regardless of position. Don't get caught up in labels like left guard versus right guard. But let's not ignore the reality of offensive line chemistry. Continuity matters. These guys need reps together at their specific spots to build timing and trust. Completely overhauling for out of 5 positions on the line just seems like a recipe for chaos. And more importantly, this isn't what the Cowboys were doing during OTAs and mini camps. The line they've been working with has been pretty consistent with what we've expected. Steele's still been taking first-team reps at right tackle. Tyler Smith has been holding down left guard. Beebe has been in the mix at center, but none of this dramatic reshuffling has actually been happening in real practice sessions. I also think people are being a little too quick to write off Steele. Yes, last year wasn't great for him. No one's pretending otherwise. But let's not forget that he's still just one season removed from being one of the better right tackles in football back in 2022. He was coming off a major injury last year, and recovery from that kind of thing isn't always linear. The Cowboys seem to believe that with a new offensive line coach and a revamped defensive system under Clayton Adams, Steele can bounce back. There's a lot of internal optimism that the run game tweaks and overall system changes are going to help him get back to form. As for Guyton, let's pump the brakes a little. The talent is absolutely there. That's why he was a first-round pick. But remember, he's a developmental left tackle. Making the jump to being a reliable starter on the right side as a rookie is asking a lot. Sure, he's said all the right things so far, and the coaches have been complimentary. But let's see how he performs in pads, in preseason games, when the real bullets start flying. Hope is great, but results matter. Right now, I'd say it makes more sense to stick with Steele at right tackle and let Guyton develop on the left side behind Tyron Smith or whoever's there. If things change in camp, if Guyton dominates and Steele struggles, then yeah, maybe you revisit the idea. But going into the season with this massive shuffle feels like overthinking it. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A whisper is making its way around NFL circles, suggesting that legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice, long associated with the San Francisco 49ers dynasty, might be preparing to deliver a stunning endorsement of the Dallas Cowboys. While specifics remain murky, the buzz indicates that Rice, known for his insightful commentary and rarely straying from his strong Bay Area ties, has been overheard offering surprisingly high praise for America's team. This isn't merely a casual compliment. Sources close to this situation are hinting at a truly unexpected declaration from the GOAT. Could it be a bold prediction for their upcoming season? Perhaps a surprising admiration for a particular player or coaching philosophy. The details are still shrouded in speculation, but the very notion of Jerry Rice, a symbol of 49ers dominance, speaking glowingly about their longtime rivals, has sent shockwaves through the league. Imagine the headlines if Rice were to publicly state that the Cowboys possess the talent, coaching, or it factor necessary to make a deep playoff run, or even contend for a Super Bowl. Such a pronouncement from a figure of his stature would undoubtedly ignite a firestorm of discussion, sparking debates among fan bases and analysts alike. It could even be interpreted as a subtle challenge to his former team's ongoing pursuit of championship glory. For years, the narrative has been one of fierce rivalry and contrasting legacies between the 49ers and Cowboys. Rice's potential deviation from this established storyline is what makes these whispers so captivating. Is he simply offering an honest assessment of a team he respects, or is there a deeper, more strategic message behind these rumored accolades? Whatever the truth may be, the possibility of Jerry Rice becoming an unexpected Cowboys booster is a development that has the entire NFL holding its breath. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.